Hello, Guardians. Today is March 18th, 2023. My name's Danfinity, and welcome to Destiny Digest. Hello, folks, and sorry for a late episode. As you can probably tell, I am not feeling great. I'm on the upswing, but the past couple days have been rough. So thank you for understanding in advance for my tardiness on this episode. A lot's happened this week, and for this episode, we're not going to get too much into the news. I do have a conversation with my Day 1 Fire team about the Root of Nightmares contest mode. That was with Eseipha, MalNightingale Kiaroh Xephonblade, and Xephonblade. I'm excited for you guys to hear that. I think I'd be remiss to not mention the passing of Lance Reddick, the voice of Commander Zavala. It is deeply unfortunate that he passed away at 60, which is still super young for anyone to pass away. It's just, that's heartbreaking. I've enjoyed his roles in many films, and especially the Destiny campaigns. He was a constant where maybe others fell away. He was a comforting constant. And who knows what Bungie's plans are going forward with the character of Zavala, but I think it's important to mark the loss here of somebody who not only cared about the role, but cared about the community that the role went to service. I'll be adding a link to momcares.org in Baltimore. That is where his family are requesting any donations be made. And without any other further ado, we'll get into this week's episode. Welcome in.
Struggle bus is real.
I sound bad.
Yeah, I think we're all struggling.
Yeah. It's 2 weeks of not being kind to myself on top of not sleeping has led me to this juncture. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, I feel like death warmed over. It's pretty neat. How's everybody else doing?
Oh, great. Sorry, I'll just break that ice.
No,
I feel good.
It's fine, man. It's fine.
Man, kick him out, kick him out.
Glad you got your health, bud.
Yeah.
You're next in the sick boat.
Oh, man, don't wish that on him.
Choo,
Don't put that evil on me.
Statistically improbable, but I hope you all get your health back soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
She stopped dying in my sleep.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun. So yeah, basically, and I gave this rundown before. So my scattered sick brain is doing backflips right now. So what we'll have everybody do, let's have everybody in alphabetical order introduce themselves, and where people can find them on the internet, just in case people don't make it to the end of the episode. Starting with D.
Oh, hi. My name is. That's your thing.
Oh,
That's copyright infringement. My name is Danfinity. No, that's not my name. My name is D Flawless. We're doing like full intro.
yeah, full intro.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
Does
my
the D
brain just
stand
like
for Dan?
shut down for a second.
No, it's all good. I'm
My
the same
name
boat.
My name is D Flawless, family-friendly streamer, entertainer, gamer on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Find me streaming live, twitch.tv/D_flawless, and posting content everywhere else at the D Flawless.
Seth.
Hi, my name is Eseipha. Everybody calls me Seth or Sarah. I mainly just spend my time on Destiny, online, on Discord, or on Twitter. Other than that, don't bother to reach me. But I am a bit on Twitter, so at Eseipha, as usual, as before. I'm also very tired, so this is going to be a long one tonight. And
Yeah.
Dan's going to have fun editing all of that tomorrow.
No, I'm gonna do that tonight. We're gonna. I've been
that's
sleeping
even
all
worse.
day. I've been sleeping all day, so
Good luck.
we'll be fine. Kiaroh.
Hey,
Josh.
my name's Kiaroh or Josh, and you can find me playing Destiny or in Discord.
Heck yeah. Mal.
Hi, my name is MalNightingale. I am a mature content creator, unlike our friend D Flawless here. I'm not family friendly. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, I mainly play Destiny 2. I've been dabbling in Final Fantasy 14 online and soon to be Diablo 4 because I have an addiction.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Zephan.
I'm Xephonblade. You can find me on Twitter retweeting hilarious memes or bad takes. Depends on the day of the week. You can also, if you're crafty enough, probably find me on Instagram. And I'm usually in Destiny 2 doing as many heroic patrols as I possibly can.
The
Huzzah.
blueberries.
What's everybody's commendation score at right now?
Let me look real quick since I'm still on Destiny.
Mine is at 7,
Oh, gosh.
working on 8. I think I have 4 left to do on 8. So
I think I'm pretty close to
The commendation score.
1,000. I just hit 7 rank today,
Yeah.
but as far as like actual
I don't know
commendations,
what
I think I'm pretty close to
commendation
1,000.
is.
1464.
Might be a little
Damn,
past 1,000.
damn straight.
I need to log in and check now. Fuck
I
off,
am
man.
913. I don't play that.
We be commended.
9:15.
We be commended.
Well, you know, when you work 40 hours a week and, you know, you're doing what you went to school for, you kind of have to make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at some point
Sacrifices.
you'll find like a good rhythm, but for now, yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, the first couple weeks of this have been kind of rough. Just getting everything put aside. I'm finding, so after the Lightfall campaign, I found myself not really playing as much. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I have like some minor burnout left over from like last season or what, but I haven't been playing as much. I haven't been exploring as much. And I think the raid with you guys, what was it, like 15 and a half hours for our clear? We just got the
Something like
email today.
Are you including the nap or no?
Well, the nap is like 19 hours. Like that, the 4.5 hour nap or the 4 hour nap.
Because we finished at like 3:30ish my time.
We did
Gotcha.
start later too. Keep that in mind.
That's very true. That's very true.
So yeah, it was like 19, 20 hours thereabouts.
Yeah. So
Still trying to look up my commendation system. My recommendation. What the fuck is it?
I'm
found,
1229. Look at me.
look at
There we
you.
go.
Look at you.
Gamer.
You're not
I've
saying
not
fucking
gotten
up.
one single indispensable commendation. Feels bad.
Damn.
Dispensable flawless.
I'm so dispensable. Wait, is that
That should go on your
have
shirt.
that? It's
That
like
sh-
completely blacked out.
That should go on a shirt.
1461. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sitting here hovering at 1079.
Get on my level. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the only ones I haven't gotten are from Trials of Osiris, which, let's be honest, I'm not holding. I'm not holding my breath for.
You're not carrying me to the lighthouse tomorrow?
I mean, if you want to carry me to the lighthouse tomorrow, I'll definitely give you pace setter. Let's trade these horses real quick. But yeah, so like outside of that, I haven't really been playing a ton. How have your experiences been this season?
I was gonna say it's the awkward silence. Okay, I was trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
No, I'll say you said just like talking about like since Lightfall launched till now,
Yeah.
or just the season.
Yeah, we're like a couple weeks in. I feel like we
Yeah.
got a pretty good feeling for what this season is, or like at least what our play style is going to be for the season.
Yeah. I gotta say, all right. Now call me what you want. I lean apologist. All right. I am mindful of the right. Like I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
I'm loving everything. I'm having fun. Campaign was super fun to me. I still got to finish Legendary on my Titan. I'm just like dreading going back in there. That's the only thing that in Destiny I don't feel like doing right now is finishing Legendary
Yeah.
Soul on my Titan. But other than that, I'm digging the seasonal playlist so far. It is still early. We'll talk to me in a couple weeks when we've done it a million times.
Yeah.
I may feel differently, but right now I'm digging it. I'm digging the seasonal story. There's like a banger story going on with Amanda Holiday and Marisol and all that. I thought the raid was fun, which we'll talk more about. So I'm overall positive on it. That's not taking away any of the criticism that we've been hearing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are making some very good points, but just like in terms of the fun I'm having a great time.
I'm a mixed bag of M&Ms here on this.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the story. The story was good. However, the execution of how they did the story, I'm not a big fan of. I love that we're getting more lore. I love that they're trying to explain lore a lot better than they have in the past. I'm looking at you, Destiny 1 and Grimoire cards. But I felt the execution was a swing and a miss. I kind of lost my interest through the story when and this is spoilers, and if you haven't finished Lightfall, I'm sorry. When Rohan died, as soon as Rohan died, that's when it felt like it was being rushed and it was pushed and we had to finish the story because like it felt like it was a build-up and then they killed off Rohan and then it was just I'm like, oh, okay. You pulled an anime trope right here.
Just racing to the end.
Yeah, I just there's been so many animes I've watched in the past where like it does a really good job of like building up the characters, explaining the story of the characters, the background, like who they are, why they're here, blah blah blah, and then they just start killing off everybody, and everyone just became insane, and it's just like what's going on, and now everyone's being reincarnated. I don't understand what's going on. It's just
yeah.
As many of you know, I've done endgame content. Hardcore, from Grandmaster helps to doing master raids and everything, and I'm tired. I'm tired of some of the same old. I would like something new, but I know it's hard when your formula has been working for 10 years. Why change when the formula has been working and everything?
But has it been working?
Some levels, yes. On some levels, no.
You say that, but Destiny's the third most bought and played game on Steam.
That's fair, yeah.
So they're doing something right, but they're also doing something wrong at the same time. Because the new players are enjoying the content because it's brand new to them. And then there's us 10-year grizzled veterans who are like, God damn it, back in my fucking day. And like that's the audience that Bungie is listening to. They're long-term players.
Are they?
I believe they are.
I hope so.
They're leaning towards more the casual, dedicated fan base, and we can get into the reason why they're listening to the casual fan base because, as much as the elites want to sit here and say the game needs to be X, Y, and Z, y'all ain't paying their bills. You make up a fraction of the player base.
I agree with that.
So that's why their opinions aren't taken in as much because they don't pay the bills, they don't pay the server fees, they don't do this, they don't do that. It's your average player who logs in for a couple hours every day.
Kiaroh, Zephan, you guys have anything to add?
I think Strand is very fun, and that's my main takeaway from this. And things have been said about the story and some of the other content in the game. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but Strand is very fun. The traversal is very fun. The grapple melee is very fun. The supers are pretty cool. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. The new weapons are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Sick. I get to be opposite D. So
No, don't worry. I'm opposite there too.
So I will start my opinion and then I'll elaborate. I'll say that in my opinion, the much debated IGN 6, I think is generous.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So Strand is really fun. And I'm going to open up with the positive. I really enjoy Strand now that we have access to all of it. And I really enjoy the quality of life changes, especially to loadouts. So compliments to the chef there. I think that the new mod system right now is in a very foundational place. Like, yes, it feels like a step backwards and it feels very basic to people who are adept at build crafting, but it is more accessible now and it is very foundational. So we kind of got to see where that goes. I'm willing to cut some slack there. As far as the actual campaign itself, I thought it was like actually bad, like actively bad. We could. I like how they address that, like, yeah, it's going to be like an 80s action movie and it'll be packed full of action and so on and so forth. And yeah, it did a lot of that. But what I said on day one after finishing it, when typically, and this is day one of the campaign, because like I've got a little group where we always do the content together on the first day, right? And that is likely when I am going to be the most hype, because, you're there with the homies, it's the new stuff, you haven't seen anything, you're like, oh, check out this thing I can do, right? And I found myself at the end of it saying the thing this has most in common with an 80s action movie is that it's poorly explained.
I know they've talked to, they did the explainer last week where they're like, hey, like we have a plan for the Veil.
Sure.
Okay. Like we have a plan for the Veil. We know that is a contingent of the community that is calling for clarification on that. I know that like that would have been great to have at launch. I think that would have probably added more to the story overall.
I agree with you. And so what I'll say is when I'm coming from a place of critique, I actually do still maintain faith in Bungie that they're going to be able to execute on this story by the end of the expansion.
Yeah.
So the end of the final season, right? It is my hope that they're going to be able to either explain properly or rectify or set up, even though I think now we should be answering more questions than asking. Because I'll tell you what, the one thing, and I told Josh this, I've told multiple people this, the cutscene when you log in for the first time and you see the like ink blot cutscene?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Osiris has that line and it left us with an unanswerable question. I literally like hand slammed on the desk. I was like, no more questions, answers. Like, I think we're at that point in our lifespan where, yeah, we can get a couple questions, but we really need to be answering things. And I think Bungie's going to be able to do it, but like we need to start seeing some answers,
I saw, the only thing that I can compare this to is Shadowkeep, because it feels like Lightfall and Shadowkeep kind of share the same vision where they had to push things forward.
Sure.
Like you did have, so what?
It's a filler. They're both fillers.
Yeah, it's, but they also had to establish some new ideas to push.
That's the point of a filler. Yeah.
Yeah, to push forward. Otherwise, you have like Savathûn was great because it paid off years and years of story and was a great sequel to The Taken King, which is, like I've said before on the show, was like the biggest DLC in Destiny history. Like it's what people point to for quality. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do over the next year with the storytelling. And I think that'll flesh out more of the progression, but I don't think we get answers until the final shape.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from, and I don't even disagree. I just don't think it's necessarily the wisest move, right? Because you need part of, like, in my opinion, part of the joy of discovery in gaming is like you get a series of answers where like it kind of leads you along where, oh, so this did that. And, you keep going, as opposed to like you get to the very end and it's like, and now I will answer all of your questions.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
No, but like, what if, and this is what I kind of got out of the answers we got from Bungie about why the game is this way, not the narrative, but just the game itself, like or why the story is constructed the way it is. What if Bungie is like, oh, this time around we're trying something slightly different, right? In Witch Queen, we had like story from like beginning to end in like the DLC itself. You got Witch Queen, you played the whole story. It was beginning to end, fully wrapped up, and then for the rest of the year, it was just the seasonal. And some season to me felt slightly kind of strange. Now they do connect. Like Plunder felt so out of left field. It does connect now, but it still felt so out of left field. And it was like, what is this? And then even Season of the Seraph feels kind of strange, and I still like have my own feelings about that whole season, but that's a whole other thing. But what if for Lightfall, Destiny or Bungie is like, okay, instead of giving you beginning to end at the beginning of the DLC when the DLC drops, what if they're like, we're gonna give you the beginning of the story, and then every season you'll like keep pushing the story forward, not only by the season with the season itself, but for the DLC too.
I think I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like you'll get chapters, right? Let's say there's 4 seasons. You get season and that is its own storyline. But then every season you also get like a new chapter of Lightfall itself.
I think
and then by the end of it,
I think
you'll
that's
get
their
like, so
aim.
it's a book it's in 4 parts, and within those parts you get like chapters which are a season, but every season is a new part 2. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense.
I kind of had a similar idea, like in terms of what I think they might be doing. Like it kind of reminds me of the old like we're in the scene where name a show where it's like, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got
Sure,
here.
right. Record scratch.
Yeah, that's kind of where it feels we are, and like now we gotta like rewind and then like fill in all the blanks that were left. So, and they may do that with like how Seth mentioned, like with the seasons. But I just really do think that they made a choice to tell the story a different way. And hey, like they did what they set out to do. They said they wanted it to be like an 80s action movie, and they did it, plot holes and all. So mission accomplished, I guess.
Question mark? Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like a lot of people, I personally felt that the story was very rushed. Called out Rohan dying like very quickly on.
We all did.
Like in the trailer.
Yeah, kind
as soon as he's like, when I give you the signal, I was like, oh, he's about to die.
Exactly. And it's kind of like it's so unfortunate. I saw this article about somebody on Reddit saying like that it felt so rushed, and it's kind of a missed narrative that instead of killing Rohan, they should have killed off Nimbus, and then having Rohan having to deal with the fact that he's dying soon.
Yeah. And his ward kind of...
His protege is dead. Like, will he be able to, like, continue? Will he be able to, like, teach another one? But he probably won't, because he's coming up on his death soon. And, like, there was this really cool narrative that could have been developed there. And, like, it's fine that maybe they didn't want to do that, but it would have been such a more, like, dramatic and intense narrative to kind of pursue, and more dark, which is kind of where Destiny is at the moment. So yeah, I personally, it also felt kind of very empty of story compared to Witch Queen, right? Witch Queen was like this big story with like a lot of like twists and turns, and the ending was like, wow, kind of maybe had, some people had inklings about it, others were like, wow, did not expect this. And it was beautiful. But what I will give Lightfall is that it has way more replayability than Witch Queen did. Like, I've said this before to different people. Witch Queen is an amazing story. You play through it and it's like insane. And it's really well developed and really well constructed. But replaying every mission of that story, like the weekly mission, sucks. It sucks. It's not fun to replay that, at least for me. When I played it the first time, I was with Mal actually. We played it. It was amazing. We were like, oh my God, that was so cool. And we finished it. It took us forever because the difficulty was fairly difficult back then and everything. But then every time I have to think about, oh, do I want to replay the story mission for Pinnacle or whatever? I don't want to replay Witch Queen. Not yet, for sure, like at all. Maybe in a few years I'll be, yeah, okay, I want to revisit that whole storyline because it was amazing. But when I played through Lightfall, I was like, okay, this mission, it will be easy. Not easy to replay, but it will be fun to replay. So I think that when it comes to Final Shape, Bungie really needs to find that fine balance of this amazing storyline like Witch Queen, but the really good replayability of Lightfall. Because otherwise, it's going to be, again, one or the other, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, for me, I'm the opposite here, because, like, with Lightfall, when super hyped, but I think halfway through, I was like, I'm ready for this to be over now. For the campaign.
It's not, but as a whole, one after the other, it kind of gets maybe not boring, but you disengage from it because it doesn't feel that engaging, and there's way too much Strand in Lightfall. That was a whole other.
They do push that pretty hard.
The introduction of Strand in the storyline is definitely what took me out of it, and I was like, if I could get a little bit less of this and a little bit more of what's actually going on.
I think if they had done the Strand, and I agree, like, because it was, as a player, it was frustrating because like you would go in like with a solar build, and then it makes you switch to Strand, and now your build just sucks.
Yeah.
Like, so like if after
Less
the
than
first
useless.
mission, right? Like if after the first mission, okay, we have Strand unlocked, but we don't have aspects, we don't have fragments, and then we go through and we collect those things and like become powerful. But now we can make a Strand build and acquire this power. It would have been much smoother, but the way they did it was very clumsy.
Yeah, it's not.
I
mean,
agree.
it's not the power fantasy at that point. It's like the power hiccup. You know.
Well,
Right.
but, and that's another pitfall of the storyline is that it was so heavily reliant on like, oh, you gotta learn to use Strand. Okay, cool, but it also, I feel like, I don't know if that's the same thing for you, but to me, it felt like it took me out of the story. Because like I was like, oh, I gotta use this again. I gotta quote unquote learn to do this again, so on and so forth.
The immersion was broken.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of was like, it felt like a stumble, and then I had to like catch myself back up, and I'm like, okay, where was I? What was happening? But like I said, I think that like playing every mission one after the other is disengaging, or it's not engaging enough, maybe. Compared to Witch Queen, yes, probably. But I think that as a solo, like each mission as a solo, is more interesting to replay than Witch Queen, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I see where you're
get
coming
that.
from.
Like I love Headlong now that I have the rhythm of it. Like before, I hated it when I kept dying on it, but now it's like I would love to replay Headlong.
Yeah.
I think I just like the vibe and the aesthetic of Witch Queen more.
Yeah.
You know.
It's more grimdark.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think I enjoy replaying those missions. Certainly, from what I'm hearing, more than you. Lightfall, I'm just like, okay, you know, like this is. Here we are. It's all right. Is he dead yet? Great. Give me the pinnacle. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I will say I am liking the post-campaign missions quite a bit
those
more.
are great.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, those are great.
Yeah. I just got done.
Like which one?
I just got done with the one for the machine gun, where it takes you back through Garden of Salvation backwards.
Oh, that one was cool.
Yeah. Like, and to introduce the mechanic of you have to shoot the tilted plate in order to like hit the node on the opposite side of the Vex wall. Which it's funny that the Vex are now coming up with walls, even more walls to stop us in our tracks. But I felt like that mission was cool. I've just been working on like other side stuff and really finding that I'm enjoying the pace of it now, and I'm enjoying Neomuna as a location more than the story.
What do we all think about the location?
I think so. I agree. Neomuna? I like it. I'm easy to please. I think I like the enemy density. I think
enemy density is great.
I think they could even throw some more enemies in there. I love the lost sectors. These are like some of the best lost sectors we've ever.
Those are
gotten.
very good.
Especially the arcade minus the boss.
Yeah.
The boss is so
sucks.
awkward.
And cool activities. Another way to get exotic gear, even if it's not like super active all the time. But like I think like when have we gotten an activity and everyone's gonna say escalation protocol, but like even the I forget the name of it. What's it called? The where you got
You love it, but you forgot the name. D, please.
Well,
that's
I forget names for everything.
Terminal overload.
There we are. That's the
that
name of
thing.
it.
Like it's the fact that it's on a rotator daily. You got different bosses. It's in different level. It's in different waves. Like I just think it's so cool. I love Neomuna.
I've been enjoying.
And it's got some pretty sweet loot.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like Titan to me, like a larger Titan, where it feels like it has a lot of depth and a lot of layers that
Miss Titan.
you're able to kind of delve into and explore more than some of the other locations. Even though like it also has like this season's got a lot of ties back to older locations. Titan being like my reference for this one, and then Io specifically for the Vexcalibur mission for the Avalon stuff. Mixed in with the splicer tech vistas and everything. But I'm really enjoying that aspect.
Perhaps I'm in the minority here, like as to what I was expecting this to be. But beforehand, I was like, oh, cool, we're getting a city. It's a brand new planet. We didn't know it was here. We didn't know the civilization was here. And to go around and just see like holographs of like 3 people standing around at a time. I was a little bit sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, it would have been cool if they, at least the hologram, I don't know, because I don't know how you would have had like NPCs and enemies in the same area, like not firing upon each other. But to see them in some of the locations or actively doing things around the city, just a little bit more than what they're doing now, would have pleased me a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit disappointed in that, but
I feel like that's a sci-fi trope that I haven't really seen before in other media.
Mm-hmm.
The what, like putting an entire populace basically in stasis, and they're still able to go about their day-to-day lives as holograms. Maybe the Matrix is that, but I don't know. Like after realizing that was the intent within the lore, within the story of everything, which I don't feel like is blatantly pointed out, unless I completely missed it in the main campaign. But
Cloud Arc?
Yeah.
Well, in some of the lore,
you discover it more like through the patrols and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
not necessarily in the mainline campaign.
But I'm finding myself to look at it as more populated now, knowing that information.
So in some of the lore, it's basically understood that like basically until like minutes before the invasion, like everybody was kind of out and about, right? Reasonably like an hour. But for me, that's where I'm like, you're telling me you evacuated the entire city and you don't have like one person? Maybe, sure, the Cloud Striders are out, but you don't have like
technology, baby.
Yeah, you don't have a couple people. So I agree with Josh how like maybe not the whole population, right? But like a handful of
a few people
who like, yeah.
I don't know, man. They've been hiding themselves for millennia, and it seems like Donald Trump didn't handle their evacuation plan. So I can see it.
Sure. It's one of those points where like I'm willing to forgive it, but I'm also like I got questions.
Moving into the day one raid, that was quite the challenge. What was everybody's feeling going into the day? How did you prepare? Did you prepare knowing that like it was going to be kind of not like a lower difficulty, but like that the cap was going to be much lower for gear grind?
The way I approached preparation, I just wanted to go in and be able to like swap my weapon. So like once they said, hey, 1780 for every encounter, I was like, all right, so I just need to get all my stuff up to 1780. I don't need to overgrind, because with contest mode, the benefit of it is that it doesn't make a difference. It is what it is.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure I had like, my different DPS options or whatever. Little did I know there wouldn't be that many DPS opportunities in the raid, but that's neither here nor there. But all in all, I had fun with the raid.
The raid, you guys cracked the fuck up. The raid.
All the silences will be edited out anyway. It's fine.
As someone who has an addiction to raiding, likes to raid a lot, and likes to impose challenges on oneself when raiding, like I'm doing a trio of route Saturday.
Hell yeah.
It could have been a little bit more difficult. However, I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, ooh, you got to cater to me. I want more difficulty. It's difficult to scale difficulty based on players, because one person may be very good at one activity, but another player is not. And so you can't increase the difficulty on something based on 2% of the population. Like, that's just not possible. I appreciate the accessibility that Bungie did. I appreciate the fact of how many people were able to get through the raid and get a day one clear. Because if you look at past day one raids and everything, like for example, I saw someone using Leviathan as an example, and it's like, but that was during a double primary meta. There was no wells, there was no mods, there was no anything compared to what we have now. And people seem to be forgetting that we are so much more powerful than we were at the launch of Destiny 2. We have so many things at our disposal. It is ridiculous. Not to mention also, because I was talking to some friends about this, the reason the raid was beaten so quickly is because we have move tech. If we didn't have Eager Edge or Icarus Dash or anything like that, the raids would have taken longer because people had to do the relay race and everything. That would have taken so much longer. But we have Eager Edge and we can just fucking go meow and be done. Like it's Fast and the Furious and Root of Nightmares right now.
And well skating and
and shatter skating
Icarus Dash, just everything.
But all in all, my consensus of the
Not
raid
even
though is
talking about the friggin' grapples from the new subclass. Like,
we have so much move tech. But all in all, I enjoyed the raid. I enjoy most difficulties in the game, anyways. I'm a glutton for punishment. I enjoy the raid. I enjoy day ones just for the simple fact that it's brand new. There's new mechanics to learn. There's new ins and outs to learn with the raid. And I enjoy that. So I was happy with the raid.
Yeah.
Also, it's also really pretty.
It is so
It's
pretty.
very pretty.
This,
I liked it.
Yeah. What did you like about it, Steph?
I like the encounter, didn't like the traversals.
Yeah. That pulse room, man.
I can't do that's the thing I hate the most out of this raid. I like the raid. I hate that thing. Oh my god, because like we were doing day one and all I kept thinking when we were going through that part was like fucking hell, flawless suck. And that's literally my only fear about flawless is not the boss, it's not the different encounters, it's that part. Literally that part. And I'm like, make me do Dickwall and Oryx and like Kingsfall again over this. But I like the encounters. Is like Miles said, it's really pretty. I like that the mechanic was different yet kind of similar. Like it wasn't complicated to understand. Once you understood it, it was like, okay, cool. This makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The third encounter is amazing.
Yeah.
I like visually. I love that. I love that we're getting a fight in a place that used to be just story.
Yeah.
Right. That was like the witness's room. Love that. It felt weird to me that it wasn't like the last fight, but it's okay. Like it's still really good.
Yeah.
That was something that they pointed out in the doc or the Vidoc that they put out today, or the like
I haven't watched that yet. I'm sorry.
developer explanation, where it was like the first time that they really had a location that they had to design toward, rather than coming up with a new location to like for an activity.
The mechanic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they were like, well, since this is the witness's ship, like what signifies that the most? And so we've seen the planet room, and
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I would love?
Yeah.
So I not to like interrupt, but like just thinking about me and you, Steph, when we were talking about like people complaining about how Nezarec looks.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are forgetting he's missing bits and parts of himself. That's not what he really looks like. And people are seeming to forget that. Our favorite couple drink some tea of Nezarec. Nezzy tea. And people seem to be forgetting that. And it's like, I actually kind of like Nezarec's designs, even though he's, missing little bits and pieces. Like, I liked the callback to the helmet that we have for Warlocks, because it actually looks like his head. Now that we actually got to see it, because like we could have just assumed it was a piece of him, something.
Yeah.
Or it could have been his butt flaps.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
I was gonna be really upset if it didn't have some semblance of him,
yeah.
since we've had that exotic for so long.
True. I don't mind his design. I think the rate to me. So I've talked about this also. Like people complaining about how it wasn't difficult or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Mom mentioned it a little bit. The thing that I think people kind of either don't see or don't understand or don't realize or don't want to realize is that the end game in Destiny has shifted. The end game is not raiding anymore, which is unfortunate on different levels, but it's also okay. But the end game is that in Destiny for PvE is not raiding anymore. It is GMs.
Yeah.
That's where Bungie is putting their end game. For them, it's like your end game is GMs. It makes sense though. Like I have to give that to Bungie. Like it kind of makes sense because it's much easier to grab like 2 other people and run a GM than it is to try to grab 5 people and run a raid. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do I miss the days of like the older raids and they were like more difficult because we were not as powerful. Yes, they were also, well, this one is a bit more mechanic than some of the previous one. But like, for example, one of my favorite raids is Crown. I know a lot of people don't like Crown. I loved Crown. Crown was heavily mechanic. Like you had to be able to do everything you needed to do. And everyone in Crown had a role. Not in every encounter, but in most encounters, you had a specific role and you had to fulfill that role. And if you didn't,
shame the crystal punchers.
Yeah.
That and like, don't stand where a crystal spawns because you're gonna get killed. And like, I don't know, like just a lot of little like things like that. It was mechanics heavy, and you had a role. You had to fulfill that role. And if you didn't, well, you probably are gonna wipe your team, and people are not gonna be happy.
Crown was one
but
of
I
my
love
favorites.
that.
I love.
I love Crown. Like everybody's like, oh, but the first encounter. And I'm like, get over the first encounter. Like for the love of God, get over it, and just think about the rest of the raid. Like it was a really good raid. So this one kind of felt a bit in the middle of where it had a lot of heavy mechanics. Well, heavy, maybe not heavy, but it had a lot of mechanics. You had to understand it. But it also, you could have people just doing ad clear and it was fine. Like you needed like 2, maybe 3 people to really run the whole thing. And then after that, other people could just mess around, I guess. I like that. And it's also, I think that Bungie is trying to make raids more accessible to more people, which is a good thing when you think about it. But yes, it has the disadvantage of becoming quote unquote easier for the hardcore gamers. So it's always going to be hard to achieve that balance of like, oh yeah, it's an end game content kind of, but it's also, we want to make it easier. For me, like for example, DSC was one of, in my head when I played it, I was like, oh, this is an introduction raid.
Sure.
It's an introduction raid for people that have never raided in Destiny before, because the mechanics are laid out very clearly and they add a little bit more every encounter and then so on and so forth, right?
This was the same way.
Yeah, it's very similar to me. So I think that those, and like Kingsfall is a reprised, so it doesn't quote unquote count in that regard.
Yeah.
So I think that what they're doing is that the new raids that they're coming out with might be more kind of to get those new players in raids. And then the older raids are for the veterans. And then as you the veterans, and as you go through like the new ones, like you do DSC, you do Root of Nightmare, then you can start going into those quote unquote older raids, and you're not as kind of overwhelmed by them because you're like, okay, I have some experience in those other ones. It's just learning new mechanic, new stuffs, and so on and so forth. So yeah. I liked it. I wasn't disappointed by it. I was a bit surprised by the contest mode. It didn't feel super difficult to me.
Yeah.
Because we had done Kingsfall contest, and that was something else. Who remembers Basilica?
Basilica.
War Priest was like, so yeah. So to me, it felt
fuck War Priest.
Yeah. To me, Root of Nightmare was a little bit easier. But it was a fun raid. It's a beautiful raid. It's a fun raid, to me at least.
Also, getting smished by Daddy Orcs.
Then there's that.
Oh well, that's also that.
I enjoyed our day one experience, and I think for a team that had raided together all of like twice, aside from Peace Elements, right? I think that between a late start and with teamwork that was developing, I think that we had a fair amount of unforced errors, but that was due to fatigue. But in general, like I think we performed well for a team that was just like, "Hey, you want to raid? All right."
Thank you, Seth, for pulling that together. By the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I did
have all of you one day.
That's fine. So I did have a lot of fun on our day one, especially by the end of it, getting the clear. But looking back at it in a post, I do think that obviously it was an easier contest. Personally. So these two statements are both true. Personally, I was unsatisfied. But also, I think it is good to have a raid that gets people into raiding. Yeah. So removing my desire to like bite off more than I can chew and keep chewing, it's really good to have an activity that's like, hey, you're new to raiding or you just want to get practice at raiding. It's good to have that activity. The fact that it exists is great. So it doesn't really matter that I'm not satisfied as much as I could be, right? Like, because for the health of the game, this exists, right?
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear people talk about it in that way. That was kind of my original thought. Like after we'd gotten the clear, and I guess to go to the beginning of the question, my raid prep, absolutely chaotic. It was the first time I'd ever run Gear Falcons. I was like, all right, just slap this build together. Let's get in there. Let's go. Stuck with that build the whole time. I do like that there's more accessibility to it, in at least as far as the delta between where we started and the light level we needed to be. I think that's a step towards accessibility. I really enjoyed that. It allowed more people to even attempt it, think that they could do it. That was really good. The raid, like Zephan said, a little bit personally unsatisfied with it. But after we got the clear and I spent a day thinking about it, the fact that it is a bit introductory, I thought was really good. I mean, heck, you could run with your heavy out like 70% of the entire raid, which was honestly really fun. And on consecutive clears, even more so, you can have your heavy out. It's really, really fun in that regard. It is beautiful. The planet encounter is phenomenal. I had a lot of fun, and it's my second day one, and the feeling at the end, and just like standing up, screaming, throwing your hands above your head, you're like, yes, that feeling. I don't know if it would get old. I haven't done enough day ones to say that it would get old, but at least it excites me every single time. I'm wearing the Oryx ring right now, which is it was my other day one. But
oh, go ahead.
Nah, go for it.
No, I was just gonna, because you were talking about like, you know, the feeling of when we finally beat it. I think the best feeling I had was not when we killed Nezarec, but when we killed the Zoark or whatever.
Explicator,
because we talked about unforced errors earlier. We had the mechanic down and we kept bringing them up to the point, and like everyone was like tapping out, and I was just like, no, we gotta do this. Like we can't stop. Like let's finish this guy and come back tomorrow, and that way all we have to do is the boss. And like when he finally went down, like to me that felt better than killing Nezarec. I don't know if I'm the only one, but like
well, that kind of felt like the caretaker of this raid. Like,
but he wasn't even a damage check. It was just like
mechanic.
we literally just needed to execute, like just get a clean run, and like we would get a clean run, and then someone would die or fall through the map, or something would get glitched out. It was just like, it was just so much stuff. Or it was just, we were dying to stupid stuff, and I knew we had it, and I just didn't want to go to bed without killing that guy. And I'm glad we did.
One thing I also appreciate about it being, air quotes, introductory is what the community has done on its own, taking it upon themselves, like Mal, to do a 3-man of it. And how many players are going to start imposing challenges like that on top of this, and then take that into other more difficult raids or other content. I think that's super cool that we're doing that, finding ways to make it even more interesting, different challenges, with low mans or whatever it may be. I think that's super cool.
I like pain.
We know that.
Well, after I do the trio, I'm going to do a duo just because.
Heck yeah. Question about, I don't know, the Master Raid, those weapons aren't craftable, right?
No.
I do wonder if, for those of us that like inflicting pain upon ourselves, if at some point they would entertain the idea of making the master weapons craftable and having the master level significantly more difficult. I don't know.
They won't make it craftable, but when you do master, you get an adept version that has a chance of having an enhanced perk or enhanced perks. That's what you get for it, because they want you to farm it. Is it going to be worth it? Who knows? We'll see, I guess. But that's how they're kind of trying to figure that out. Because when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Because like, imagine having an adept crafted weapons with like all the adept mods, all the adept stats and enhanced perks. That's a bit broken, unfortunately. So no, but they're kind of, I guess, middle ground solution was you get a chance of, or you may have like one perks that's enhanced or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the wording was, but like a few TWABs ago they kind of addressed that. So yeah,
this was my first contest completion. I keep wanting to say day one, but it's contest completion. I've tried in the past. I had a lot of fun. Jenny said that all she heard out of me on Saturday was "oh shit" when I got the shotgun at the end. and I had a lot of fun playing with you guys, even when there was like frustration about like mechanic, or maybe like me for an example wasn't executing at the top of my ability.
Look, those ads wanted your booty hole, and they got the.
I know, man. Those scions coming out those side doors, man. But I felt like it was a really fun experience because everybody was so chill, and that hasn't been necessarily my experience in the past with day ones or contest things. And I found that it was a really fun experience. The one thing that I didn't appreciate was the discourse after the raid, where people were like, "Oh, they're just handing out the emblems." Because I was
like that.
Oh.
Who was it that tweeted like, okay, but if they didn't have an emblem for like the first 24 or 48 hours or whatever, would you even do day one?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people, they do it for the emblem, which like that's not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's cool, but like, if the emblem was removed out of the equation, would you complain that they're handing out the raid?
They would find something to complain about. Yes,
there's always something.
It's a Destiny community.
Some people aren't happy unless they're not happy.
No, it's like misery loves company, right? That's what they're doing. Which, like, okay, but I don't know. I like that the game is accessible to more people. I remember, like, I've said this before. I'm sorry, people. I keep repeating myself all the fucking time. But back in the day, I was talking to someone. You'll see where that person might have worked. I'm not gonna confirm or deny. But we were talking at some point about raids and whatnot, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, I don't know. I was saying something, and they were like, yeah, but you don't understand that out of the whole and that was before Destiny came to Steam. Okay, so that was like back in the day when you had to pay for Destiny,
right?
Or the base game at least, right? And that person was saying, so what you don't seem to understand, and a lot of the community doesn't understand back then, at least, is that out of the whole population of players, only 10% have ever done a raid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And out of that 10% who'd ever done at least one raid, only 10% of that were able to raid regularly. So we're a 10% of a 10%, right?
Right.
It's like back then, and probably to a certain extent, still to this day, it's a very small population of people had ever done a raid, and even more small of a population that had been able to raid fairly regularly. And like, it's a really cool activity to do in Destiny when you can raid. So I don't think it's a bad idea to make it more than 10% of the player base that can raid or have ever done a raid. So I don't know. For me, I like the accessibility. I understand people want more challenge and so on and so forth. That's a whole other kind of bag of worm if you want.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy the fact that I could take somebody that is fairly new to the game and I could I could make them go through Roots of Nightmares and be okay. Like, yeah, they'd be overwhelmed. Maybe they'd die a lot.
Yeah.
But I still feel like most people would be able to go through it and it would still be like a good experience overall.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. But
I think my main thing was like, there were people who were criticizing it for its difficulty, and that's fair. I think that's like, some people want more challenge, and I get that. And Mal, I think you hit it on the head. Like, Bungie isn't aiming it at that player. They're aiming
at a moment
at a wider populace, and I think the 2-day contest mode kind of speaks to that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like that though.
Yeah, I my main issue was with people who were just like, they're just handing everything out. It's like, no, dude, my 20 hours in there says otherwise.
Yeah, and it's like we had we started on time, theoretically, right, we would have gotten it done in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh yeah,
I'm calling it a day one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I put out a video when they announced it, the extension to contest mode, that it doesn't change the difficulty of the raid at all. Like, the raid wasn't easy because people had an extra 48 hours. Like, people just had, in our case, somebody had to work and they couldn't get off of work, but we came in, we got it done in less than 24 hours. And I think the majority of the people who are going to have that emblem is going to be on the case. If you look at their time spent in the raid before they got the emblem, I guarantee you, like probably 99% of them are like under the 24-hour mark.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't, like that doesn't diminish anybody's accomplishment. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost just like, okay, be mad.
People being people.
I mean, yeah, what it is.
I'm
I mean,
trying
the
to.
idea of a 48-hour contest, I like that a lot. My ideal situation, which I know is never going to happen, but stick with me here.
Okay.
In a perfect world, I would love it if for like Final Shape, because that's, probably going to be like the final flagship expansion raid, right?
Right.
In this theoretical world, which will never happen, is the raid itself is just like blisteringly hard because it's the final X-Pack raid, but like you give it a week of contest, and have people workshop. I know it's never going to happen, but
Yeah.
I just, if it did, I would love that.
I saw a lot of people comparing it to like World of Warcraft raids or raids,
Yeah.
like Savage raids in like Final Fantasy 14, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah, there's no
no.
way. There's
No,
Like-
dude.
that's
No.
there's no way.
Let me tell you. So ultimate raids in Final Fantasy 14 are the top end hardest thing you can do in Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
The newest ultimate that came out was called the Omega Protocol. You want to know how long it took them to actually complete the actual raid?
How long?
Just take a guess. I want to hear some guesses.
I'm gonna say
Week?
that they had a full fire team. They had somebody that was doing call outs, and it was 142 hours.
Steph was about right. It was about almost a week until they cleared it. The reason being is because there's some mechanics in 14 that can go on for 20 minutes straight.
Yeah.
We don't get that in Destiny raids. We don't even get that in like any kind of form of content. It is a different ball game because 14 is an MMO down to its core, and Destiny at its core was a looter shooter.
So kind of my final thought for the evening, or my final question for the evening for you as a group. What strats are you guys finding going into the normal version now that improve upon what we did in day one? Like what?
Oh, I got one.
Okay, yeah, shoot.
So last night, was it last night? And this is just good because if you're with an experienced team, obviously this is for Nezarec, right? If you're with an experienced team and you got two experienced runners, you can obviously definitely on the first phase, you guys just book it and do it. Don't even worry about refuge. But like for Sherpas, a good idea is to as soon as the encounter starts, as soon as you get the call out for light or dark, you place a refuge down and then you go on about your business. And then when you see him starting to get his phase, everyone can just run to the refuge, tap it, and then go back. And I found that to be such a good idea. Somebody I was raiding with a maze in one of his mods said that that's how they do it, and it just makes life so easy. So like basically you start it, boom, you grab one or two orbs. As soon as you get the call out, light or dark, you place the refuge down right then and there, and then you go back about your business. And as you see him start to glow, everyone can just book it to the thing, tap, stick their foot in there, and then go back on about their business. And it makes it so easy. You're not coming down to the wire trying to get one before you go get the refuge and all this other stuff. So that was just, and then also, well, I don't want to hog up the whole.
I already did.
the
By
whole
all
time.
means.
Yeah, go for it.
And like there's some, like I've been finding some strats. Like some people have some busted call outs for Planets Encounter. If you didn't see my video, I kind of make fun of those people who have weird call outs in that video.
Oh, I saw that one today.
But another cool one I thought was obviously, I don't know the names of these encounters. I just the Gap. I'm calling it the Gap or Schism, I think it's called.
The thigh gap.
Like
Skyzer, Skizzer.
The ones where you get killed by the wave thing?
No, it's the
where the
bouncing
the
back and forth with the
suicide?
man cannons.
Isn't it
Fission.
called Fission?
Yes. with
Or
the
something
fission.
like that?
Yeah.
Skishin.
No, Scission.
You wouldn't believe how many different strategies there are for that. Like,
Oh, 100%.
I was.
Oh, yeah.
Some people like they grab one, go to the other side, grab a different one, stay on that side, then go back, grab the original one. Then some people like, all right, you grab one, you finish all that, but then you swap once you get to the next floor because you just stay on the side that you are. And then there's like, it's so many different strategies, and I kind of love that there's a bunch of different viable strategies. There's the 2-runner strat, the 1-runner strat, or everybody run strat. Like, this
Chaos.
raid is, yes, it's quote unquote, I hate using the word easy, but let's, I like the
Easier.
guys are
Just call it
saying
easier.
right? An introductory raid. But I love it because when you can show your skill, you can still show your skill in the raid. If you're one of the 2 people who get to do a mechanic in it.
Yeah.
Go as fast as you possibly can. Learn your routes. Learn the potential spawns. I know that's pretty generic, but honestly, you do things quick enough. There's only 2 callouts that need to be made the entire raid, and they're in the 3rd encounter. It's 2 callouts per DPS phase. That's the only words that need to be spoken. So learn how to use Eager.
Yeah.
Yep. My favorite strat is asking my runner, "Hey, what strat you want to use?"
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure there's an audio cue for tormentors in first encounter. I'm almost certain of that. So, I mean, that's just a little time saver thing. I know people like to ask what side it's on. Where's the tormentor at? I mean,
yeah. So I've run this once post, and it was just calling out the tormentor for the team was pretty much the only thing that we had to do call out wise in that room. And like it was for my first teaching run of it, it went fairly smooth. Of course, like you can always get better at like explaining encounters and basically equating different puzzles to what's in the raid to help people understand it better. But my friends have been using the strat in Incision where it's you bounce back and forth, grabbing the alternate nuts. I think we tried that the other day, or like when we were doing the day 1 run. But it just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't clicking on day 1. but we ended up. My friends have been running it to great acclaim. Post.
The more efficient route you're saying, where you actually like stay. Yeah. Jumping back and forth every time with the buff is not the optimal strat. There's a much cleaner route for that. I had a question for everyone. I have quite a number of friends, more than I actually thought, that have messaged me and asked me, should I get Lightfall? Because for them, it's a little steep. It's the full price of a game for this expansion.
Yeah.
And all things included, I give them both the positive and the negative, just my own perspective on it. I currently can't comfortably suggest people get back into it. My only upsides is like Strand is really fun. If you like being a little bit of Spider-Man, if you like the gameplay of Destiny, you played that before, throw a little bit of Spider-Man in there, and that's my upside to it. But the rest of it, I can't tell them, hey, it's worth your $50. Like it's not a gut reaction to say that to them. What do you guys think?
Not if they don't have Shadowkey, Beyond Light, Witch Queen. Like if they have all of that and Lightfall on top of it, like, and they haven't played any of that, right?
I would still recommend
or most of it. Yeah, if they haven't played Witch Queen and then Lightfall, then I'd say if they can get both of them like on cheap or like on sale or whatever.
Well, and they have the Legacy Collection bundle too now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still $80, and then Lightfall is like another $60 or something. But yeah, if Witch Queen and Lightfall together, I'd say yes. Just Lightfall? No. Unfortunately. No.
That being said, I do think I'll resuggest it in a season or two, or if it continues to improve.
For sure.
I don't see them not continuing to improve it. So like in my streams when people have asked, I've been like, well, if you want to play the latest content, if you want to play what like the most populated activities are right now, like I still think that that's a valid option. I'm looking here at the PlayStation Store because that's where like I pick everything up. And like Destiny 2 Lightfall, just the base is $49 with $99 for Lightfall and annual pass, and then the Legacy Collection is $60. I think if people are trying it out and they're enjoying it and they want to play the latest activities, I normally would suggest, I mean, if you can afford it, go for it. But like
if
you can only pick one.
Yeah, if you can only pick one, I would say the Legacy Collection, just because there's like such a wide variety of content that's in there, and it's not even all of it. The 30th anniversary pack isn't involved in that. Like I'm looking at it right now. The Forsaken pack isn't involved in this one.
I think the problem is that like it's hard to recommend that, because if someone's asking you what they can get, it's hard to be like, oh, get this thing that came out like years ago.
Yeah.
Like I think they should start like wrapping these up like in the latest one, because people who want to jump in, they want to jump in because something new's coming out,
Like
they
a
wanna
full
play the new
saga
stuff. Yeah, like I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how much sense that would make business wise. Like, how many people are buying these older releases instead of the most recent one? I don't know. That's just me like being pro consumer though. Like it's like I'll recommend Witch Queen because it's fairly recent and I think it's legitimately their best campaign. But once you start going past that, like before, unless a person needs to get caught up on story, but it's hard for me to say like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. I think they should start wrapping it all up in like little packages.
One full package.
Yeah.
The D Flawless Classic.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Perfect.
Flawless collection.
The Flawless Collection.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go play Diablo for a bit, take a break from this.
Yeah.
Too frustrated.
What is the Thunderlord strat?
Equip it.
It's
Equip.
That's the
a
strat.
divinity, bitch. Thunderlord. That's what it is.
You just gotta make sure you also have the catalyst for alert, or it won't work.
Also
Yep.
very true.
I've been working on that all this week.
Same.
Yep. But all right, well, folks, why don't you tell the people at home where they can find you on the internet? D, starting with you.
Oh, hi. Dang it. I did it again. My name's D Flawless, family friendly streamer, entertainer on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find me on Twitch streaming live Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/D_flawless, and everywhere else at the D Flawless.
Seth, how about you?
You can find me mainly on Twitter at Eseipha. Same thing as my name. That's where I spend way too much time. Actually, I'm gonna stop spending so much time on Twitter.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
bad for your
or
health.
on it's dude. I'm so just we're not even gonna go there. But yeah, you can find me there. You can find me in the game in Destiny, but not this week because Diablo. Thank you.
Yeah.
And on Discord most of the time. Don't DM me on Twitter if you have a question, okay? If you're a friend on Discord, this is to Dan mainly. Do not DM me on Twitter, okay? Talk to me on Discord. Thank you. Love you, Dan. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, Twitter. Love you.
But what if I like Twitter?
You can like Twitter all you want, my dude, but I will not respond on Twitter.
Hey,
Kiaroh, what
I'm
about you?
Kiaroh, your friendly neighborhood gamer. You can find me in Destiny 2 or on Discord. So that means you probably won't find me. But if you do, say
Aw.
hey, we can do some stuff together. And I'll float the twos.
That sounds more and more like a Scientologist every time I hear it. Mal, what about you?
Hello, everyone. Just because I have to keep that up. My name is MalNightingale once more. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Discord, all the socials. Hive, even.
Even Hive.
Oh, Hive. I should go back on that. Makes
Yeah,
my
it's
life
pretty-
much
I don't know.
It's an
better.
enemy type.
Yeah.
I'm going
Birds
back
and
on
the
Hive.
bees?
But
Yeah,
it's
you
so
know
much
what?
more
You can find
friendly.
me on Hive. I'm going back to Hive. Cool. Yep. Especially since Dan literally just DM'd me. Yeah, going back to Hive. Thanks.
What a troll.
What am
On
I gonna
Twitter.
do? What am I gonna do?
Okay.
You put it in front of me. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh my God.
Zephyr, what about you, sir?
I am Xephonblade. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on D2. If you're crafty enough, you can find me on Instagram. But honestly, not that hard to find. I'm just real quiet. And I show up, I shoot the things, and I leave.
It is very quiet though. That's very fucking
Yeah.
true.
It was a lot of fun raiding with you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on the show tonight. I'm probably going to edit this tomorrow morning. And
Now he's regretting his decision.
no, it's not regret. It's like I am chilling and I need to go to
Yeah.
sleep, I think. So
I'm also in that same boat.
Get some rest, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I got some editing to do.
Yeah, this will go up. This will go up tomorrow morning.
Cool.
No worries.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
you.
And
Thank you.
I should
Well, you're-
end. Should kick out the bots, shouldn't I?
Silica.
Nation.
Basilica.
The silica.
Bazaga.
One of the bots caught that.
There's a Kiaroh shaped ghost that lives in the War Priest encounter.
Just Josh's
A piece of me is always there.
flipping off the
man.
fucking.
I'm
Forever
hopping out, guys.
Basilica.
Y'all have a great night.
Yeah.
Hey, you did the
GG.
same,
Have a
buddy.
good one, dear.
Bye.
Good fun tonight. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna hop off. I gotta go do dishes. It's also garbage night, so I gotta get the garbage gathered. So I will talk to you guys later.
Yeah, talk
right.
to you later. Be well, be
Bye.
safe.
Nice to hear y'all.
Nice to talk to you. Be well, be safe. Bye.
Adios.
My name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and the TikTok at Danfinity, where the guys are else. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, twitch.tv/Danfinity, helping Guardians through in-game activities. If you'd like to support the show, please remember to rate and review on your podcast platform of choice. Anything you say helps us in the algorithm. If you'd like to spend $3 a month to help keep the lights on, head on over to coffee.com/Danfinity. That is ko-fi.com/Danfinity. All the links are in the notes for the show. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you find what you're grinding for.